If you could give one medical condition to your worst enemy, what would it be and why? That's totally messed up. Heart attacks in the grocery store, the worst thing about working in the hospital, and you will not believe what this person said to me. Holy cow.
Holy cow!
Today, we're diving into the most burning personal and professional questions sent in by you. Things might get a little weird. All right, let's dive right in. Is it true you had to live out of your car in medical school?
Morning, baby.
Nathaniel is in a committed relationship with a car.
Yes, to a certain extent. So the first 2 years of medical school, you're in the classroom in the same location. But then my 4th year, we had to pick different rotations to go to, which lasted about a month. And every rotation was somewhere else. So literally, I had all my stuff, and every 4 weeks, I had to move around and get a new place. You probably call it now couch surfing. What is your favorite and least favorite procedure to do in the emergency department?
See you later, inoculator.
A cool procedure would be a new procedure that we do called ECMO. So ECMO is extracorporeal membrane oxygenation, meaning we take the blood out of the body, put it through a machine and put it back in. So it's really intense, and this doesn't always work. But when it works, it's awesome. Now, there's a couple that I don't like doing, but I do it because I have to. Ingrown toenail. Toes are hard to numb up, and the nails are really tough, so you're like ripping and pulling, and it's just uncomfortable for everybody. So not a big fan of that. If you could give one medical condition to your worst enemy, what would it be and why?
Dude, this is pretty f***ed up right here.
Luckily for me, I don't have any enemies that I know of, but you could say, okay, what would a bad medical issue that you wouldn't want somebody to have? And off the top of my head, anytime somebody has cancer, I don't like that. And certain cancers are faster than others and really hard to treat. And the one that jumps to my mind, it has to do with your brain, which is a glioblastoma. These are very invasive, they're fast growing, and the survival rate's maybe like 5%. Not something I would wish anybody to have. Would you rather have a permanent cough or a permanently runny nose? I would do the runny nose because you could just like wipe it away, quietly below your nose. But if you're coughing, you're going to be, in the middle of talking, coughing, you're going to be loud. And at some point, because of all the coughing, you're going to have a raw throat. And then everybody's going to continue to look at you because you just keep coughing. Why? But the doctor in me says if you have one of these and they're chronic, definitely go get it checked out by a healthcare provider. But let me know, what would you rather have in the comments below? What's your go-to karaoke song, and what do you think that says about you? I've done karaoke with my friends recently, and my go-to song is actually a Billy Joel song called Downeaster Alexa. My dad actually went to high school with him for a very short period of time, so I like that. It's singable, it's fun. I enjoyed punk back in the day, or like all the small things that's like super easy to sing and fun and fast, versus like a good friend of mine, Tucker. He's able to do an REM song called It's the End of the World, but then it goes into these long verses that I don't know how he knows, and he can do it so well. I think he's just really good at doing karaoke. Anyways, what is your go-to karaoke song? Let me know in the comments. The good doctor always finds himself out and about and experiencing medical emergencies. Have you ever been somewhere like the grocery store and had someone have a heart attack near you?
I'm a doctor. Let me take a look.
Yes, I do remember I was coming home from work and the elevator opened, but it opened up into the lobby. There was a party going on in the lobby and somebody had passed out. I go over there, I stand, there's other people there helping. So ultimately, the person who knows me, they're like, what do we do? And I said, we'll call 911. And so the appropriate thing is to, help the EMS team, tell them the exact story what's going on, and then went back to my apartment. And then I was at my brother's wedding and had to kind of be there because somebody passed out, and ultimately they ended up fracturing their jaw. Nothing to be done. It would heal on its own, but I've been on airplanes where they've called things overhead. There was another instance. If you were a medical instrument, which one would you be and why? First thing that jumps to my brain would probably be like a defibrillator. So, shock somebody. It's electrical and it's got a lot of power. No, that's what I can think of, what we use in the emergency department. I wouldn't want to be a needle, or I wouldn't want to be like a thing that collects urine. I think a defibrillator would be my instrument of choice if I were to be an instrument. What about you guys? Let me know in the comments. Is it true you could have been a pro soccer player if you weren't a doctor? So yes, most likely. I grew up playing soccer, aka football, and went to college, Division I, where a bunch of my buddies out there have recently retired as professional soccer players. But as I was going through university and was playing soccer at the same time of getting all my studies done for medical school, I thought it would be the smarter route to focus on school so I can get good grades to get into medical school. But my older brother is awesome. He's a goalkeeper, and he got offered to play professionally, but he chose not to as well. So Matt, shout out to you, buddy. What's the most ridiculous thing a patient has ever said to you?
What?
So a lot of patients say a lot of unique things.
Balsa wood? You could at least use mahogany.
One year, I dressed up as Clark Kent, aka Superman. And so patient was just not happy. And as I walked away from the room, the patient just screams, "F you, Superman!" So sometimes people put different objects in places they shouldn't. And a lot of times they like fall on things when we know that you can't just fall on things, and they go in through the hole down there into your body. So those stories that individuals tell us are always unique and different. Who is someone you secretly look up to? Well, I'm an ER doctor, and so we like people who work hard, inventive. So one that I could think of is probably MacGyver. So MacGyver's always found himself in like unique situations, so is always critically thinking of ways to get out of it or come up with contraptions that might help. And the emergency department have to do that often, so that's one. But then the other is actually maybe a little controversial, but how his brain thinks and what he's doing is pretty darn cool. So Elon Musk, now nothing from like a personal standpoint on him, but more from his inventive side, pushing the limits of trying to just keep us as humans advancing. What's the single worst thing about working in a hospital or an emergency department? The single worst thing is having people die. Yeah, obviously my job is to try to help prevent that. But then on a whole other flip side of things, probably the worst thing is documentation, in the sense of the amount of time that we have to spend documenting. And there's a lot of different reasons why. From a medical legal standpoint, it just takes a lot of time and you don't get paid for that time. And the other thing is smells. The smell of like infected urine, and then you smell blood, you smell vomit, and actually a really horrible bad smell is an abscess that's been going on for a long time, and you cut it open, and I use a suction catheter to suck away the smell. It actually really works. Use a suction catheter. If I had to treat Homer Simpson or Peter Griffin, who would you rather treat and why?
Clear! No, that's the good sound.
I really wouldn't want to treat either of them. It seems like they both don't follow medical direction when they actually do get ailments. I think Homer ends up hurting himself often. He's quite clumsy, so that's more of a trauma, but you just have to worry about them, hitting their head, internal bleeding, versus Peter Griffin, who he's a little bit more unpredictable, like fight me because he fights the chicken, or that episode where he drank Ipecac and just vomiting everywhere. Like, come on, better decision making, Peter. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Who is your celebrity crush?
Sorry.
Girl.
When I was younger, I had two celebrity crushes, Mila Kunis and Brittany Murphy. But that was back in the day when, I was like 20 years old. Now, as an adult, my wife. She's an Emmy award-winning TV producer and TV host. So that'd be my celebrity crush. What's one of the most underrated health hacks? Something that's so important that you can do simply every single day is better high quality sleep. Because during sleep, your body is healing itself and it's getting you ready for the next day. So super important. And things that inhibit it is abnormal circadian rhythms, alcohol, eating late, and if you need a little bit of help, we have a supplement that I helped formulate that is called Do Not Disturb, and it's formulated with 3 bioavailable forms of magnesium, L-theanine, avodia, and passion flower to really help you get a better night's sleep, so that way you feel really rested for the next day. Definitely check it out if you're interested at lifehappens.com or on Amazon. What is the biggest obstacle in residency? The biggest obstacle in residency is probably balancing like work life. When I went to residency, you have an hour cap per week of how much you can work. It was 80 hours. So if you were going more than that, you had to leave the hospital and get out. So it's like, okay, what do you do with your like personal life? You want to make sure that you have a good time on your days off, rest, recovery. And then the other thing is one of the bigger obstacles to getting into residency is a lot of pass fail testing is going on. So letting your personality shine really well in your interviews is huge. You got to be into it. If you had to be a contestant on a reality show, what would it be and why? Right to my brain, American Ninja Warrior. The reason why I said that is because it's like, it looks fun. And for me, fitness is really important. And if I was to be a contestant on that, it would require me to train harder and would definitely just be fun as well. So if you guys had to be a contestant on a show, what would it be? What's a widely accepted belief or health trend you think is completely overrated or even harmful?
What's this stuff that looks like sand?
It's quinoa.
Nope, I don't eat foods that sound like karate words.
There is a trend out there where people like urinate, put it in jars, let it like sit out in the sun, break down, and then they drink it. Don't do that. Same with like sunning your butthole. Like, don't do that. If you need vitamin D, go out there, have some sun exposure for a short period of time, and be done with it. I did a whole video on these alternative health trends. So if you're interested, we'll put it in the description below. So check it out. What do you think is humanity's most underrated invention?
I've invented a device which allows you to operate equipment from great distances. I call it the Thinglonger.
Two come to mind, which would be like plumbing and electricity. I was thinking like a toilet. Where would you pee? Where would you poop? If you didn't have the toilet and a plumbing system, it would just be everywhere. We definitely take it for granted. And same with electricity. You know, if you don't have electricity, you may not have heat or air conditioning. You don't have lights. Wouldn't be able to charge your phone that you're watching this on. And then even from a medical standpoint, we wouldn't have half of the equipment that we could use because we need electricity to run it. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. These are off the top of my head. Don't yell at me for just coming up with things right here. But if you guys enjoyed this video, definitely check out this playlist right here. Binge watch everything. And as always, do me a favor, subscribe, turn your bell notifications on, and hit that like button for me. Thank you so much for watching, and stay healthy, my friends.